You know what I'm saying? Currently watching this debate. You know what I'm saying? Making this thing do what it do. You know what I'm saying? Make sure you share the broadcast. Hold on real quick. About to turn this debate on for y'all. You know what I'm saying? Make this thing do what it do. I mean, it's all a comedy to me, so just keeping it real with you. So, y'all gonna have to bear with me. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna turn the water on for y'all. You know what I'm saying? Trying to get back into the studio so I can make this a live stream. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't even planning on doing no live stream like that. Y'all know, you watch my channel, I really don't get into politics because it's all comedy to me. It's all a joke. But I'm up here rocking with it tonight. You know what I'm saying? Just for the culture, you feel me? What in the world is going on? I'm trying to get into my studio. I'm missing the debate. I'm trying to get into my studio right now. What in the hell? Really? What is going on? What's up, people? We up in this thing. Y'all already know the vibes. It's your boy Scum Jim Longfoot, aka the GOAT, King of America. We about to watch this thing live. I see the Portal doing the same thing too. Shout outs to the Portal doing the same thing as well. I'm about to go to my channel. You know what I'm saying? And we are watching this one live. You know what I'm saying? The King of America is watching this thing live. You know how it goes down. We're about to get into this thing. That's what we're about to do right now. I'm about to get back to this presidential debate now that I've been talking about it. I'm about to go to my YouTube channel not my YouTube channel, but my Facebook channel. I'm about to go to Black YouTubers Live. You know what I'm saying? I'm about to rock it out. And you know, get some actual factual opinions, you feel me? Black YouTubers. Shout outs to Married to the Real, they just went live. Come through and watch with me. So yeah, so now I'm about to get back on here to watching this thing. I'm watching from the CNN YouTube channel, so I'm about to get back to it. I'm not trying to see no ads. Like, can we get past these ads though?
Businesses being open safely, schools, how they can make classrooms smaller, how they can hire more teachers, how they can put ventilation systems in. They need the help. The businesses as well as the schools need the help. But these guys will not help them. It's not giving them any of the money.
We are going to move on to immigration, but I want to get
we
your
have to help our
reaction.
small businesses by raising the minimum wage. That's not helping. I think it should be a state option. Alabama is different than New York. New York is different from Vermont. Every state is different. It should be a state option.
You said very
We have to
recently-
help. It's very important. We have to help our small businesses. How are you helping your small businesses when you're forcing wages? What's going to happen, and what's been proven to happen, is when you do that, these small businesses fire many of their employees.
You said very recently you would consider raising the federal minimum wage to $15 an hour. You said recently you would consider raising the federal minimum wage to $15 an hour. Is that still the case?
And I would consider it to an extent. But
In a
what I
second
really
administration?
like, in a second administration, but not to a level that's going to put all these businesses out of business. It should be a state option. Look, in different places, I know different places. They're all different. Some places, $15 is not so bad. In other places, other states, $15 would be
Okay, President
ruinous.
Trump, thank you. Quick response, Vice President Biden.
2 jobs, 1 job, be below poverty. People are making $6, $7, $8 an hour. These first responders, we all clap for as they come down the street. because they've allowed us to make it. What's happening? They deserve a minimum wage of $15. Anything below that puts you below the poverty level. And there is no evidence that when you raise the minimum wage, businesses go out of business. That is simply not true.
We're going to talk about
Also,
immigration. We're going to talk about immigration now, gentlemen, and we're going to talk about families within this context. Mr. President, your administration separated children from their parents at the border, at least 4,000 kids. You've since reversed your zero-tolerance policy, but the United States can't locate the parents of more than 500 children. So how will these families ever be reunited?
They won't be because they done got kidnapped. No kids gone.
Coyotes and lots of bad people, cartels, and they're brought here, and they used to use them to get into our country. We now have as strong a border as we've ever had. We're over 400 miles of brand new wall. You see the numbers, and we let people in, but they have to come in legally, and they come in through.
But how will you reunite these kids with their families, Mr. President?
They built cages. You know, they used to say, I built the cages, and then they had a picture in a certain newspaper. There was a picture of these horrible cages, and they said, look at these cages. President Trump built them, and then it was determined they were built in 2014. That was
Miss
him.
Lackey, what's happening?
To reunite the kids?
Yes, we're working
You know
on
what I'm
it.
saying? We're up here looking at the presidential debate. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna put the camera on myself because y'all can see them anytime.
Vice President Biden, let me bring you into this conversation. Quick response and then another question to you.
These
Miss Lackey,
500
what's
plus
happening?
kids came with
You know what I'm saying?
parents. They separated them at the border
presidential
to make it
debate.
a
Well, looking at me
disincentive
looking
to
at
come to
presidential
begin with.
debate.
They
Y'all
real
can watch
tough.
it on
We're really
YouTube,
strong.
CNN,
And guess what?
wherever
They
you wanna
cannot.
watch it.
It's not coyotes didn't bring them over. Their parents were with them. They got separated from their parents, and it makes us a laughing stock and violates every notion of who we are as a nation.
Let me ask you a follow-up
Kristen,
question.
they did it. We changed the policy.
Your response
they
to that?
did it.
We
changed.
did not.
They
I wish I
built the
had a
cages.
split screen, but you know
Who
I
built
ain't
the
got it like
cages,
that.
Joe?
Let's talk about what
Who
we're
built the
talking about.
cages,
Let's
Joe?
talk about what we're talking about. What happened? Parents were ripped. Their kids were ripped from their arms and
Let me see if I
separated.
can do something like
And now they
so.
cannot find over 500 sets of those parents, and those kids are alone. Nowhere to go. Nowhere to go. It's criminal. It's criminal.
Let me ask
Kristen,
you
I will
about
say
it.
this. They
10
went down. We
seconds
brought
and then I need to-
reporters, everything. They are so well taken care of. They're in facilities that were so clean.
But some of
and
them
have gotten
haven't been
such good.
reunited
But
with
just
their
ask
families.
one question. Who built the cages? I'd love you to ask them that. Who built the cages?
Let me ask about your immigration policy, Mr. Vice President. The Obama administration did fail to deliver immigration reform, which had been a key promise during the administration. It also presided over
Right.
record deportations as well as family detentions at the border before
Six Increase
changing course.
1408 in the
So why
building.
should
What's
voters
happening?
trust you with an immigration overhaul now?
Because you made a mistake. It took too long to get it right. It took too long to get it right. I'll be president of the United States, not vice president of the United States. And the fact is, I've made it very clear. Within 100 days, I'm going to send to the United States Congress a pathway to citizenship for over 11 million undocumented people. And all of
Kid
those
wonders life and wonder what's
so-called
happening.
dreamers, those DACA kids, they're going to be immediately certified again to be able to stay in this country and put on a path to citizenship. The idea that they are being sent home by this guy and they want to do that is they're going to a country they've never seen before. I can imagine you're 5 years old, your parents are taking you across the Rio Grande River and it's illegal. And you say, oh no, Mom, leave me here. I'm not going to go with you. They've been here. Many of them are model citizens. Over 20,000 of them are first
Appreciate you, kid.
responders
Appreciate y'all. You
out
doing
there
tonight,
taking
man?
care of people during this crisis. We owe them. We owe them.
Kristen, he had 8 years to do what he said he was going to do. And I've changed without having a specific. We got rid of catch and release. We got rid of a lot of horrible things that they put in and that they lived with. But he had 8 years he was vice president. He did nothing except build cages to keep children in.
Vice President Biden, your response.
The catch and release, you know what he's talking about there? If in fact you had a family came across and they were arrested, they in fact were given a date to show up for their hearing. They were released. And guess what? They showed up. for a hearing. This is the first president in the history of the United States of America that anybody seeking asylum has to do it in another country. That's never happened before in America. That's never happened before in America. You come to the United States and you make your case that I seek asylum based on the following premise: why I deserve it under American law. They're sitting in squalor on the other side of the river.
President Trump, your response,
So
30
important.
seconds, and then we'll move
It just shows that he has no understanding of immigration or the laws. Catch and release is a disaster. A murderer would come in, a rapist would come in, a very bad person would come in. We would take their name. We have to release them into our country. And then you say they come back. Less than 1% of the people come back. We have to send ICE out and Border Patrol out to find them. We would say, come back in 2 years, 3 years. We're going to give you a court case. You need Perry Mason. We're going to give you a court case. When you say they come back, they don't come back, Joe. They never come back. Only the really, I hate to say this, but those with the lowest IQ, they might come back.
Okay, President Trump, let's give Vice President Biden a chance to respond, and then we're going to move on to the
You
next
don't know
section.
the law, Joe.
Vice President Biden, your response.
No, the law, what he's telling you is simply not true.
Well, check it out. They don't come back.
Check it out.
All right, let's move on
But we don't have to
the
worry
next
about it because they
section.
terminated
This
it.
is
So we don't
all
have to worry
coming
about
in,
it.
Let's
man.
move on to the next
Yeah,
section.
525 kids not knowing where in God's name they're going to be and lost their parents.
All right, let's talk about our next section, which is race in America. And I want to talk about
Watch
the
them
way Black
dance
and
over
brown
this one.
Americans experience race in this country. Part of that experience is something called the talk. It happens regardless of class and income. Parents who feel they have no choice but to prepare their children for the chance that they could be targeted, including by the police, for no reason other than the color of their skin. Mr. Vice President, in the next 2 minutes, I want you to speak directly to these families. Do you understand why these parents fear for their children?
I do. You know, my daughter is a social worker, and she's written a lot about this. She has a graduate degree from the University of Pennsylvania in social work. And you know, one of the reasons why I ended up working on the east side of Wilmington, Delaware, which is 90% African American, was to learn more about what was going on. What I never had to tell my daughter, if she's pulled over, make sure she puts, for a traffic stop, put both hands on top of the wheel and don't reach for the glove box because someone may shoot you. But a black parent, no matter how wealthy or how poor they are, has to teach their child when you're walking down the street, don't have a hoodie on when you go across the street. Making sure that you, in fact, if you get pulled over, just yes sir, no sir, hands on top of the wheel, because you are, in fact, the victim, whether you're a person making child of a $300,000 a year person or someone who's on food stamps. The fact of the matter is there is institutional racism in America. And we have always said, we've never lived up to it, that we hold these truths to be self-evident. All men and women are created equal. Well, guess what? We have never, ever lived up to it, but we've always constantly been moving the needle further and further to inclusion, not exclusion. This is the first president to come along and says that's the end of that. We're not going to do that anymore. We have to provide for economic opportunity, better education, better health care, better access to schooling, better access to opportunity to borrow money to start businesses. All the things we can do, and I've laid out a clear plan as to how to do those things, just to give people a shot. It's about accumulating the ability to have wealth as well as it is to be free from violence.
President Trump, same question to you, and let me remind you of the question. I would like you to speak directly to these families. Do you understand why these parents fear for their children?
Yes, I do. And again, he's been in government 47 years. He never did a thing except in 1994.
Talking about the crime
He
bill.
did such harm to the black community. And they were called, and he called them super predators. And he said that. He said it, super predators. And they have never lived that down. 1994, your crime bill, the super predators. Nobody has done more for the black community than Donald Trump. If you look, with the exception of Abraham Lincoln, possible exception, but the exception of Abraham Lincoln, nobody has done what I've done. Criminal justice reform.
Boy.
And Joe didn't do it.
Yeah,
I don't even
Nick.
think they
You
tried.
ain't
They
him,
had
did you?
no chance of doing
He
it.
ain't him.
They might have
He
wanted
ain't
to
him.
do it, but if
He
you
said
haven't
outside
seen
of
the arms
Abraham
ahead
Lincoln,
and
no
twist to
person
get
ain't
that
done more for
done,
blacks than
it
him.
was not a pretty picture. Everybody knows it, including some very liberal people that cried in my office. They cried in the Oval Office. 2 weeks later, they're out saying, gee, we have to defeat him. Criminal justice reform.
Hey,
Prison
dude.
reform. Opportunity
Hey,
zones.
dude.
Tim Scott, a great
Outside of
senator
Abraham
from
Lincoln,
South
nobody ain't did
Carolina.
more for us
He
than
came in
him.
with this incredible idea for opportunity zones, one of the most successful programs. People don't talk about it. Tremendous investment.
Oh, snap.
Made
I'll
biggest
tell you who didn't do
beneficiary,
nothing for us for the
black and
daggone show.
Hispanic communities,
Obama.
and then historically black
Come at me if you want
colleges
to.
and
Obama ain't do
universities.
nothing for us.
After 3
Other
years of
than
coming to the office, I
make it look
love
like
some of
one of
those
us
guys,
was in
by the way.
office.
They
Other than
came into
that,
the
that's it.
office and they said, I said, what are you doing
I
after
said
3
it.
years? I said, why do you keep coming back? Because we have no funding. I said, you don't have to come back every year. We have to come back because President Obama would never give them long-term funding. And I did. 10-year long-term funding, and I gave them more money than they asked for because they said, I think you need more. And I said, the only bad part about this is I may never see you again because I got very friendly with them. And they like me and I like them.
Damn.
But I saved
What?
colleges and universities.
Okay, and we're going to talk about both of your records, but your response to that, Vice
My
President.
response to that is I never ever said what he accused me of saying. The fact of the matter is, in 2000, though, after the crime bill had been in the law for a while, this is the guy who said the problem with the crime bill, there's not enough people in jail. There's not enough people in jail. And go on my website, get the quote, the date when he said it. Not enough people. He talked about marauding gangs, young gangs, and the people who are going to maraud our cities. This is a guy who in the Central Park five innocent black kids, he continued to push for making sure that they got the death penalty. None of them were guilty of the crimes they were suggested. Look, and talk about granted, he did in fact let 20 people, he commuted 20 people sentences. We commuted over 1,000 people sentences. Over 1,000. The very law he's talking about is a law that, in fact, initiated by Barack Obama. And secondly, we're in a situation here where the federal prison system was reduced by 38,000 people under our administration. And one of these things we should be doing, there should be no minimum mandatories in the law. That's why I'm offering $20 billion to states to change their state laws to eliminate minimum mandatories and set up drug courts. No one should be going to jail because they have a drug problem. They should be going to rehabilitation, not to jail. We should fundamentally change the system, and that's what I'm going to do.
Why didn't he do it 4 years ago? Why didn't you do that 4 years ago, even less than that? Why didn't you? You were vice president. You keep talking about all these things you're going to do and you're going to do this, but you were there just a short time ago and you guys did nothing.
We did.
You know, Joe, I ran because of you. I ran because of Barack Obama, because you did a poor job. If I thought you did a good job, I would have never run. I ran because of you. I'm looking at you now. You're a politician. I ran because of you.
All right, Vice President Biden, your response to that, and then I do have some questions for both of you.
Well, I tell you what, I hope he does look at me, because what's happening here is, you know who I am. You know who he is. You know his character. You know my character. You know our reputations for honor and telling the truth. I am anxious to have this race. I am anxious to see this take place. The character of the country is on the ballot. Our character is on the ballot. Look at us closely.
Let me ask some follow-up. Please respond, and then we're going to have
If
follow-up.
this is true about Russia, Ukraine, China, other countries, Iraq, if this is true, then he's a corrupt politician. So don't give me the stuff about how you're this innocent baby. Joe, they're calling you a corrupt politician.
President Trump, I want to stay on the issue of race. We're talking about
It's
the issue.
all hot there in the building. What's
We're
happening?
talking about race right now, and I do want to stay on the issue
This
of
thing
race.
crazy.
President Trump,
And I
you've
have
just
to respond to that.
Please,
Because look,
very
there
quickly.
are 50 former national intelligence folks who said that what he's accusing me of is a Russian plan. They have said that this has all the 5 former heads of the CIA, both parties, say what he's saying is a bunch of garbage. Nobody believes it except
Bunch of
him
malarkey.
and his good friend Rudy Giuliani.
You mean the laptop is now another Russia hoax?
And that's exactly what.
Is this where you're
exactly
going?
what.
This is where he's going. The laptop is Russia.
Gentlemen, I want to stay on the issue of race.
You
okay?
have to be kidding. Here we
Mr.
go again
President,
with Russia.
We're going to continue on the issue of race. Mr. President, you've described the Black Lives Matter movement as a symbol of hate. You've shared a video of a man chanting white power to millions of your supporters. You've said that black professional athletes exercising their First Amendment rights should be fired. What do you say to Americans who say that kind of language from a president is contributing to a climate of hate and racial strife?
Well, you have to understand, the first time I ever heard of Black Lives Matter, they were chanting pigs in a blanket, talking about police. Pigs, talking about our police. Pigs in a blanket, fry them like bacon. I said, that's a horrible thing. And they were marching down the street. And that was my first glimpse of Black Lives Matter. I thought it was a terrible thing. As far as my relationships with all people, I think I have great relationships with all people. I am the least racist person in this room.
What do you say to Americans who are concerned by that rhetoric?
I don't know. I don't know what to say. I got criminal justice reform done and prison reform and opportunity zones. I took care of black colleges and universities. I don't know what to say. They can say anything. I mean, they can say anything. It makes me sad because I
You
am.
sure are beating around the bush.
Racist person.
How about you declare the KKK as a terrorist organization,
I
bro?
don't care who's in the audience. I'm the least racist person in this room.
Okay, Vice President Biden, let me ask you very quickly, and then I have a follow-up question for you.
Abraham Lincoln here is one of the most racist presidents we've had in modern history. He pours fuel on every single racist fire. Every single one. Started off his campaign coming down the escalator saying he's going to get rid of those Mexican rapists. He's banned Muslims because they're Muslims. He has moved around and made everything worse across the board. He says about the poor boys. Last time we were on stage here, he said, I told him to stand down and stand ready. Come on. This guy is a dog whistle about as big as a foghorn.
President Trump, I'm going to give you 10 seconds to respond, and then I have a follow-up.
He made a reference to Abraham Lincoln. Where did that come in? I mean,
You said you're Abraham Lincoln.
No, where did that? No.
You said-
I said not since Abraham Lincoln has anybody done what I've done for the black community.
And I'm saying-
I didn't say I'm Abraham Lincoln. I said not since Abraham Lincoln has anybody done what I've done for the black community. Now, you have done nothing other than the crime bill, which put tens of thousands of black men, mostly in jail.
All right,
You know why?
let me
They
ask
remember
Vice
it
President
because if you
Biden
look at what's happening with the voting right now,
Let me ask
they
Vice
remember
President
that
Biden
you treated them very, very badly. Just take a look at what's happening out there.
Vice President Biden, let me give you a chance to respond within this context. Crime bills that you supported in the 80s and 90s contributed to the incarceration of tens of thousands of young black men who had small amounts of drugs in their possession. They are sons, they are brothers, they're fathers, they're uncles, whose families are still to this day, some of them suffering the consequences. So speak to those families. Why should they vote for you?
One of the things is that in the 80s, we passed 100%, all 100 senators voted for it, a bill on drugs and how to deal with drugs. It was a mistake. I've been trying to change it since then, particularly the portion on cocaine. That's why I've been arguing that, in fact, we should not send anyone to jail for a pure drug offense. They should be going into treatment across the board. That's what we should be spending money. That's why I set up drug courts, which were never funded by our Republican friends. They should not be going to jail for a drug or an alcohol problem. They should be going into treatment. That's what we've been trying to do. That's what I'm going to get done, because I think maybe the American people have now seen that, in fact, it was a mistake to pass those laws related to drugs. But they were not in the crime bill.
But why didn't he get it done? See, it's all talk, no action with these politicians. Why didn't he get it done? That's what I'm going to do when I become president. You were vice president along with Obama as your president, your leader, for 8 years. Why didn't you get it done? You had 8 years to get it done. Now you're saying you're going to get it done because you're all talk and no action.
We got a lot of it done. We released 38,000. We got 38,000 prisoners left from.
You got nothing done.
38,000 prisoners were released from federal prison. There were over 1,000 people who were given clemency. In fact, we're the ones that put in the legislation saying we could look at pattern and practice of police departments and what they were doing, how they were conducting themselves. I could go on, but we began the process. We lost an election. That's why I'm running, to win back that election and change his terrible policy.
I just asked one question. Why didn't you do it in the 8 years, a short time ago? Why didn't you do it? You just said, I'm going to do that, I'm going to do this. You put tens of thousands of mostly black young men in prison. Now you're saying you're going to undo that. Why didn't you get it done? You had 8 years with Obama. You know why, Joe? Because you're all talk and no action.
All right, Vice President Biden, and then we're going to move on to the next section.
We had a Republican Congress. It's the answer.
Well,
Okay.
You got to talk them into it, Joe.
All right.
You got to talk them into it.
We're going to move on to our next section.
Like I did with criminal justice reform. I had to talk Democrats into it.
Gentlemen, we're running out of time, so we got to get on to climate change, please. You both have very different visions on climate change. President Trump, you say that environmental regulations have hurt jobs in the energy sector. Vice President Biden, you have said you see addressing climate change.
Shout out
as
to
an
moderator,
opportunity
y'all. I know
to
she
create
being
new
daggone
jobs.
woman. Slap
For each
these
of
folks
you,
for real
how
though.
would you both combat climate
yeah,
change
she fine
and
too,
support
y'all.
job growth at the same time? Starting with you, President Trump, you have 2 minutes uninterrupted.
So we have the Trillion Trees program. We have so many different programs. I do love the environment, but what I want is the cleanest, crystal clear water, the cleanest air. We have the best, lowest number in carbon emissions, which is a big standard that I notice Obama goes with all the time. Not Joe. I haven't heard Joe use the term because I'm not sure he knows what it represents or means, but I have heard Obama use it. And we have the best carbon emission numbers that we've had in 35 years under this administration. We are working so well with industry, but here's what we can't do. Look at China, how filthy it is. Look at Russia. Look at India. It's filthy. The air is filthy. The Paris Accord, I took us out because we were going to have to spend trillions of dollars, and we were treated very unfairly. When they put us in there, they did us a great disservice. They were going to take away our businesses. I will not sacrifice tens of millions of jobs, thousands and thousands of companies because of the Paris Accord. It was so unfair. China doesn't kick in until 2030. Russia goes back to a low standard, and we kicked in right away. It would have destroyed our businesses. So, you ready? We have done an incredible job environmentally. We have the cleanest air, the cleanest water, and the best carbon emission standards.
Flint still ain't got no clean water.
Vice President
And we
Biden.
haven't destroyed our industries.
Vice President Biden, 2 minutes to you, uninterrupted.
Climate warming, global warming is the next existential threat to humanity. We have a moral obligation to deal with it. And we're told by all the leading scientists in the world, we don't have much time. We're going to pass the point of no return within the next 8 to 10 years. 4 more years of this man eliminating all the regulations that were put in by us to clean up the climate, to limit the limit of emissions will put us in a position where we're going to be in real trouble. Here's where we have a great opportunity. I was able to get both all the environmental organizations as well as labor, people worried about jobs, to support my climate plan. Because what it does, it will create millions of new good-paying jobs. We're going to invest in, for example, 50,000 charging stations on our highways so that we can own the electric car market in the future. In the meantime, China is doing that. We're going to be in a position where we're going to see to it that we're going to take 4 million existing buildings and 2 million existing homes and retrofit them so they don't leak as much energy, saving hundreds of millions of barrels of oil in the process and creating significant number of jobs. And by the way, the whole idea of what this is all going to do, it's going to create millions of jobs, and it's going to clean the environment. Our health and our jobs are at stake. That's what's happening. And what right now, by the way, Wall Street firms indicated that my plan will in fact create 18.6 million jobs, 7 million more than his. This is from Wall Street, and I'll create $1 trillion more in economic growth than his proposal does. Not on climate, just on the economy.
President Trump, here we
They came out and said very strongly, $6,500 will be taken away from families under his plan. That his plan is an economic disaster. If you look at what he wants to do, if you look at his plan, his environmental plan, you know who developed it? AOC +3. They know nothing about the climate. I mean, she's got a good line of stuff, but she knows nothing about the climate. And they're all hopping through hoops for AOC +3. Look, their real plan cost $100 trillion. If we had the best year in the history of our country for 100 years, we would not even come close to a number like that. When he says buildings, they want to take buildings down because they want to make bigger windows into smaller windows. As far as they're concerned, if you had no window, it would be a lovely thing. This is the craziest plan that anybody has ever seen. And this wasn't done by smart people. This wasn't done by anybody. Frankly, I don't even know how it could be good politically. They want to spend $100 trillion. That's their real number. He's trying to say it was 6. It's $100 trillion. They want to knock down buildings and build new buildings with little, tiny, small windows. I mean, and many other things.
Okay.
And many other things.
Let me have the Vice President respond, and we're running out of time, and we have a lot more
You'll
questions to
destroy
get
our
to.
country.
So let's hear from the Vice President. I have a number more
I
questions.
don't know where he comes from. I don't know where he comes up with these numbers. $100 trillion. Give me a break. This plan is endorsed by every major environmental group and every labor group. Labor, because they know the future lies. The future lies in us being able to breathe, and they know there are good jobs in getting us there. And by the way, the fastest growing industry in America is the electric. Solar energy and wind. He thinks wind causes cancer, windmills. It's the fastest growing jobs, and they pay good prevailing wages, $45, $50 an hour. We can grow and we can be cleaner if we go the route I'm proposing.
President Trump, please respond, and then I have to
We are
follow.
energy independent for the first time. We don't need all of these countries that we had to fight war over because we needed their energy. We are energy independent. I know more about wind than you do. It's extremely expensive. Kills all the birds. It's very intermittent. Got a lot of problems, and they happen to make the windmills in both Germany and China. And the fumes coming up, if you're a believer in carbon emission, the fumes coming up to make these massive windmills is more than anything that we're talking about with natural gas, which is very clean. One other thing.
Find me a
Solar.
scientist said that.
I love solar, but solar doesn't quite have it yet. It's not powerful yet to really run our big, beautiful factories that we need to compete with the world. So it's all a pipe dream. But you know what we'll do? We're going to have the greatest economy in the world. But if you want to kill the economy, get rid of your oil industry. You want, and what about fracking?
All right, let me allow Vice President Biden to respond.
Never said I oppose fracking.
You said it
Yeah,
right.
bro.
I didn't. Show the tape. Put it on your website.
I'll put it on.
Put it on the website. The fact of the matter is, he's flat lying.
Would you rule out banning fracking?
I do rule out banning fracking because the answer we need other industries to transition to get to ultimately a complete zero emissions by 2025. What I will do with fracking over time is make sure that we can capture the emissions from the fracking, capture the emissions from gas. We can do that, and we can do that by investing money and doing it. But it's a transition to that.
I have one more question in this pod, and then
Excuse
we
me,
have.
he was against fracking. He said it. I will show that to you tomorrow. I am against fracking. Until he got the nomination, went to Pennsylvania, then he said, but you know what, Pennsylvania? He'll be against it very soon because his party is totally against it.
Fracking on federal land, I said. No fracking and or oil on federal
Let
land.
me ask this final question in this section, and then I want to move on to our final section. President Trump, people of color are much more likely to live near oil refineries and chemical
Praise
plants.
God.
In Texas, there are families who worry the plants near them are making them sick. Your administration has rolled back regulations on these kinds of facilities. Why should these families give you another 4 years in office?
The families that we're talking about are employed heavily, and they're making a lot of money, more money than they've ever made. If you look at the kind of numbers that we produce for Hispanic, or Black, or Asian, it's 9 times greater the percentage
Let
gain
me check
than
real
it
quick.
was
Hey,
under in
do me a
3
favor.
years, than it was
Hold
under
the phone right
8
here.
years.
Just hold it right there while I go.
The 2 of them, to put it nicely. 9 times more. Now, somebody lives, I have not heard the numbers or the statistics that you're saying, but they're making a tremendous amount of money economically. We saved it, and I saved it again a number of months ago when oil was crashing because of the pandemic. We saved it. We got, say what you want about relationship, we got Saudi Arabia, Mexico, and Russia to cut back, way back. We saved our oil industry, and now it's very vibrant again.
All
And
right.
everybody has very inexpensive gasoline. Remember
Vice
that.
President Biden, your response, and then we're going to have a final question for both of you.
My response is that those people live on what they call fence lines. He doesn't understand this. They live near chemical plants that in fact pollute, chemical plants and oil plants and refineries that pollute. I used to live near that when I was growing up in Claymont, Delaware. And all the more oil refineries in Marcus Hook and the Delaware River than there is any place, including in Houston at the time. When my mom get in the car and when there was first frost to drive me to school, turn in the windshield wiper, there'd be oil slick in the window. That's why so many people in my state were dying and getting cancer. The fact is, those frontline communities, it doesn't matter what you're paying them, it matters how you keep them safe. What do? And you impose restrictions on the pollutions, the pollutants coming out of those fence line communities.
Okay, I have one final
Would he
question.
close down the oil
It
industry?
falls.
Would you close down the
falls.
oil
By the way,
industry?
I would transition from the oil industry, yes.
That moderator going through
It
it.
is a big statement because I would stop.
Why would you do that?
Because the oil industry pollutes significantly. Here's the deal. But
That's
you
a
can't
big
do that.
statement.
Well, if you let me
He
finish
and a
the
vision
statement,
in the building. What's
because it
up?
has
What's
to be
happening?
replaced by renewable energy over time. And I'd stop giving to the oil industry, I'd stop giving them federal subsidies. You won't give federal subsidies to the solar and wind. Why are we giving it to the oil industry?
We actually do
All right.
to solar and wind.
We
And
have
that's
one
maybe the
final
biggest
question.
statement in terms of business. That's the biggest statement.
Okay,
Because
we have
basically
one
what he's
final
saying
question,
is he is going to
President.
destroy the oil industry. Will you remember that, Texas? Will you
Okay.
remember that, Pennsylvania, Oklahoma?
Vice
This has
President
all
Biden,
been
let me
coming
give you
into
10
the
seconds
night,
to respond,
y'all.
and then I have to get to the final question. Vice President Biden.
It takes
well,
everything
look,
out of context, but
you
the
good.
point is, look, we have to move toward a net zero emissions. The first place to do that by the year 2035 is in energy production, by 2050 totally.
All right, one
Is he
final
gonna get
question.
China to do it?
No, we're finished with
Is
this.
he
We
going
have
to
to
get
move on
China
to
to
our
do it?
final question. We have to
I'm
move on
going to
to our final
rejoin Paris
question.
Accord and make China abide by what they agreed to.
All right,
Of
this
course
is
you
about
do.
leadership, gentlemen. And this first question does go to you, President Trump. Imagine this is your inauguration day. What will you say in your address to Americans who did not vote for you? You'll each
It's
have
all
1
comedy.
minute, starting with you, Mr.
We have to make a country totally successful as it was prior to the plague coming in from China. Now we're rebuilding it and we're doing record numbers, 11.4 million jobs in a short period of time, etc. But I will tell you, go back. Before the plague came in, just before, I was getting calls from people that were not normally people that would call me. They wanted to get together. We had the best Black unemployment numbers.
That's the best what? Oh, I'm gonna cut off. Hold on for a minute, y'all. Great. Hold on, y'all. We lost the Wi-Fi. Hold on for a minute, y'all. We gotta get this thing back. I'm gonna have to do it like this. Gonna have to do it on my phone over here. Since my daggone iPad wanna act like he ain't got no Wi-Fi all of a sudden.
Of new jobs. And that's the fact. That's what we're going to do. And I'm going to say, as I said at the beginning, what is on the ballot here is the character of this country. Decency, honor, respect, treating people with dignity, making sure that everyone has an even chance. And I'm going to make sure you get that. You haven't been getting it the last 4 years.
All right, I want to thank you both for a very robust hour and a half, a fantastic debate. Really appreciate it. President Trump, former Vice President Joe Biden, thank you to Belmont University for hosting us tonight. And most importantly, thank you to those watching tonight. Election Day is November 3rd. Don't forget to vote. Thank you, everyone.
Already
Have a
did.
great night.
I'll sit and put it in
There
my
you have
way.
it, a much more coherent debate compared to that first matchup a few weeks ago. The President of the United States obviously listened to his key advisors here. There was very little interrupting. They mostly followed the rules, but still focusing in on some of the major differences that they have. The American public clearly has a better appreciation of where these two men stand on some of the most important policy issues of the day. Their family members are coming up on the stage right now. We're going to watch a little bit of this before they both disappear. But Jake, this was clearly a much different debate than the first one.
Yeah, that's right, Wolf. It was definitely a more normal debate. President Trump behaved more like a regular person might, theoretically. I think it's fair to say that Trump supporters and Republican office holders can relax for the night. They can exhale. He didn't set himself on fire tonight like he did at the first debate. He did lie like Pinocchio, and I'm sure Daniel Dale will get to that in the fact-checking section. But beyond that, it's fair to say I think President Trump got in a couple clean hits when it came to Vice President Biden, when it came to the 1994 crime bill, when it came to Joe Biden being in politics for so long. He even probably fed some raw meat to his base successfully using Breitbart, Fox lingo that most voters have no idea what he's talking about, but he got those shots in there, however based in reality they are. The problem for the president, as I see it, is twofold. One, Joe Biden did fine. He had a fine performance. He definitely reached the threshold. And given that so much of this election is a referendum on Donald Trump, and he is the underdog, according to polls, Joe Biden is ahead, Joe Biden did nothing to disqualify himself. It was a fine performance. And the second problem is that Joe Biden scored points. He got his licks in on issues that I think might affect voters more when it comes to the coronavirus pandemic, when it comes to healthcare and the fact that the Trump administration has not offered any sort of viable alternative to Obamacare. And then there was that rough moment that had to do with the fact that of the child family separation policy, there are still more than 500 kids that the Trump administration has not been able to place back with the parents whose arms they snatched them from. So I think at the end of the day, Dana, the race has been fairly stable. I think, there might be some movement when it comes to soft Trump supporters who are unsure, feeling like, well, that's a more normal person than the last debate. And maybe even some points scored in terms of getting black men who really hate that 1994 crime bill and their families on board, perhaps. But I don't see anything that will change the trajectory of the race in a significant way. What do you think?
No, I agree with you. Look, we all described in colorful terms what we thought of the first presidential debate, and this was a debate. It's what Americans should expect when they are watching two people who want to be the leader of their country, the leader of their free world, to try to figure out where they stand on policy issues and where they are when it comes to their
Like I said, it was all comedy. I don't really dwell into politics because when it comes to politics, I'm not a fan of either side when it comes to politics. But I'm going to always vote with those who align my interests the best. And we've had 4 years of someone who had zero experience in politics, and that's how that go. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to zero experience in politics, it's not saying that, okay, you don't have no experience in politics, so that means you can't qualify or whatever. Because you have career politicians who never do anything good except get fat and rich off of you know everything that they're doing in the political arena. And then you have those who have been there for a short time, who either turn the tide the right way or turn the tide the wrong way. And so when it comes to this debate, it's all coming to me. I already voted, so my side is clear as far as who I voted for, and it's not 45 for those wondering. But at the end of the day, if I had a choice on who to vote for, I vote for myself, and that's it. You feel me? But I don't need no votes because I'm the king of America. I don't need no vote. That part. So I hope y'all enjoyed this little, live watch of the debate. You know what I'm saying? This is done wrapped up now. Feel free to comment below. You know what I'm saying? I don't care what side you're on, as long as you come correct when it comes to being on my channel, because you don't want me on your wrong side. So you say what you say, and whatever. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Just know that if you get on my bad side, then you on the wrong side. I don't know if y'all seen Russell Crowe in Unhinged, but y'all need to go watch Russell Crowe in Unhinged. Them the problems you don't want. You feel me? So, yeah. So I'm just cooling right now. If anybody is in the building, let me know if y'all in the building, because I'm trying to get my Wi-Fi back right. That would need to work on. I need for people to work on. I need for them to work on free Wi-Fi for the whole world. That what we need. Free Wi-Fi, baby. Free internet for the whole world. Anderson Cooper got glasses. Like, I ain't looked at CNN in so long. Like, I don't even, like, these people are so unrecognizable now because it's been so long since I looked at the news. I went ahead and did that tonight just to look at, see what they were gonna be talking about. You know what I'm saying? I want nothing in particular that I was really caring to see, so to speak. Shout outs to everybody who came up in here. Shout outs to Miss Lackey. Shout outs to Sexy Trees 1408. One of the members of my live chat crew. Kid Wonders, Life of Wonder came through and shared me out. Appreciate you, bro. It's All Hot Air came through, and Kiana Vision came up in this thing. Shout outs to Kiana Vision. I don't know what else to really say as far as that go. I'm just cooling right now. I'm just cooling right now. Trying to. Let's see, I'm gonna put y'all right there for a little sec. Oh, we got 3 people up in here? Okay. I didn't expect to get 3 people up in here. Because I might, I don't know if there's anybody up in here. You know what I'm saying? We might get into some art. I don't know yet. Because the debate is over. The live watch of the debate is over. And I'm just still live right now, cooling. I don't know if anybody gonna pop up in this thing. I mean, well, I see 3 people. If you up in here, make sure you know what I'm saying, send a like to your boy. You know what I'm saying? Make it do what it do. You know what I'm saying? Appreciate you doing that tip there. My daggone iPad acting good and stupid right now, so at least Instagram is working. I guess it's working. I think it's doing something. Well, who's up in here? Cause it says 3 people up in here. So if y'all up in here, say some things. Say some things though. You know, cause we just pretty much cooling right now. You know, the debate is over. The debate is over, and we just up in this thing, just trying to make sense of it all. And basically, what I want y'all to take away from all of this is, you know, if you don't like what's currently going on, vote. If you do like what's currently going on, vote. You know what I'm saying? Express yourself. You feel me? Express your oops. You know, just express yourself. Period. And let it be known on what it is you're trying to see get done, you know, in this life. Waiting to see if my iPad gonna act right. Let me just turn it off real quick. I see it's 2 people up in here. I know who one of them is. I don't know who the other one is. So, you know, don't just be creeping on your boy. You know what I'm saying? Let me know who you is though. Let me know who you is though. Anytime for 20, what time? Oh, it's 10. Man, I need to eat. I haven't ate my dinner yet. I'm about to, I don't know what I'm gonna eat though. Today, of course, is my last day eating anything non-green, because tomorrow is day 1 of my 4th Eat Green challenge. You know, tomorrow is day 1 of my 4th Eat Green challenge. If anybody would like to join me on that tip, I would, you know what I'm saying, welcome you to it. So that'd be awesome. That should be known. Okay, look like the Wi-Fi back on. Look like the Wi-Fi is back on my iPad now. Cool. I'm about to look at episode 4.
Your decision will
Married to
matter.
the Real.
It will matter to
Country.
them. What does it mean for their future? John Ossoff needs an economy struggling. Higher costs, more taxes. Healthcare, private coverage, gone. Government in control. David Perdue is a brighter future, a stronger economy, more money for your family. And you control their healthcare, not the government. Your decision matters to them.
Is he even old enough to vote? No. I don't know. We just showed some girl dancing. I'm like, dang, she even old enough to vote? She look mad young. But right now, currently,
What's going on, Realistic Straight? And it's that Showmanship Real, where we always keep it real. Love, craft, country. Season 1, episode 4. A history about it. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and get ready to get into it. I've been enjoying the country show.
hold on for a minute, y'all.
And to have that.
Okay, we just Okay. I don't know if it. Oh, 176. Jeez. And bring that thing down, baby. Gotta bring that down, down. Yeah. Should we drink some of this early? Ooh. 176 is my last number for the night. 10:50 p.m. I don't know if anybody's still in the building right now. I got one person in the building. I know who that one person is. So, shout out to my cousin Deja. She watching the video I did of her right now. Episode 124. My art video series. Let's see. I'll put y'all right here. Like I say, I'm about to end this thing right here. I'm about to get my grub on. Then I'll probably come back up on here. So if anybody want to come back and rock with your boy, y'all can do just that. Appreciate y'all once again for watching the debate with me. Meantime, between time I'm gone, y'all. One love. Peace.